Alright, it is the third weekend in August. I think it's probably been 3 weeks since I last shot a full video. Last weekend we had some water heater issues, so I spent one of my days doing that. And so anyway, here we are. Pear tree looks a lot different. I think it was 2 weeks ago we had a windstorm and lost a couple of branches here, so I went and cleaned that up. And while I was at it, got rid of a lot of the water shoots. So it's a lot smaller now, and as you can see, laden with fruit. And they're getting pretty close on here. So not quite yet, but getting pretty close. They're big, full. As you can see, there's a bunch of them on the ground. And I was out here just yesterday, there was only 2, now there's a bunch more, so either wind or just being ripe. There's some berries from our strawberries from last year. They have taken over and I have not gotten there to control them, but once again, I transplanted 1 last spring, there were 10 this spring, and now there's way too many. So, need to kind of get those in control, but I've seen the berries all summer. So I think that these are the ever-bearing, like alpine type or whatever. Not as big, not as sweet, but continuous. So anyway, there's a cherry tree. It's starting to lose its leaves. I'm hoping that's what's supposed to be happening. I mean, it's a bit early for a tree to lose its leaves, but it's got a lot of them that are yellow, as you can see, and I'm guessing those are the ones that are falling, but I'm not sure exactly why it is the first to fruit and all that, but I have to look back and see if that's what happened last year, if it started dropping its leaves this early. It has been very cool for August recently, but I'm not sure why this is going on. Here's our other stand of trees, sunflowers. So in that same windstorm, I lost the 1 sunflower there, and the others were kind of pushed over, so I had to kind of rig some support and remount the stuff in here to help give them a good anchoring, but they have survived and they are still here. They're all open. The thing about sunflowers is, as you can see the sun up there, it's early morning, and what I learned is that most plants will grow towards the early morning light. And so all these sunflowers are opening that way, towards the east, because that's where they get their first light of the day, and that's where they grow towards and open. So that sunflower there, the big one there, and the 2 over there are all facing that way. So something to think about when you plant sunflowers. Planting them on this eastern fence here is going to just provide a nice view for your neighbors, but not you. So, versus the ones over on that side of our house that are open for us. So anyway, just something to think about. And then here's the apple tree, pretty loaded with fruit. I trimmed some of the stuff, just the stuff that was hanging down and in the way. Some of these branches were coming way down and just new growth, so I trimmed them back to where the apples were. And then probably at the end of the season I will trim this out of the way because it's just too much in the way. I can't mow under here and keep running into things, and it's kind of just a little bit of a pain in the butt, so I'll have to get those. The apples are still there. I did grab one, or I knocked one off the other day mowing the yard and ate it. It was kind of tart, but okay. So I'm sure they're not ready yet, but wasn't too bad. It was like eating a Granny Smith. Anyway, so that's the apples. They're still there. Still have all their little imperfections, but just have to eat around them. Here's the peach tree. Peaches came on basically where we noticed them, I think in the middle of last week, this past week, and we started picking them, and we came out, and in one night about an hour and a half or so. Picked over 200 of them. We've taken about 300 off. There's just a few dozen left, but they have a really good blush on them this year, which is kind of weird. Last year they were just not that strong. These look almost like the regular. These are white peaches, and they look like the regular peach because they're so. Some of them have the blush that's so dark, and that's not what I remember from last year. But anyway, even with their little skin imperfections here, just fine. You just peel it, and the imperfections are in the skin, so peel right off, and they taste delicious and are great. So even with this tiny tree, we got over 300. So that's pretty much more than we need. So that's why we try to prune it to keep it under size control and thin it to keep the peaches bigger. I didn't thin it as much this year, but anyway, that's what we got for the peaches. The second pear tree, has not been trimmed, and this is kind of why the difference between this one and the other one is most of this growth is this straight up stuff all up in there. And if I were to trim it up, it would look like it would take half the tree out. Because pears, I've noticed, at least with ours, are especially susceptible to trying to focus on growing straight up. They don't like to branch out very much. Kind of have to give them a real helping hand. Anyway, so they look okay. Still haven't got around to that. Trimming that behemoth, but I need to either do it soon or try to do a summer one soon, or else I'm going to have to just wait until the other one. But it's going to be a mess, so we'll just have to see. And we've got to figure something out to help prevent all the fruit from the flowers from dying in the spring. So I think size control is going to be a big part of that, because anything we do to try and, obviously there's no way we can cover this tree right now, but if it were, say, the size of this peach tree, it's something we could, if we needed to, and it's going to be a frost, throw some blankets or something over it, whatever we got to do. But right as it is now, there's really nothing we can do for it. So anyway, that'll be another project. The raspberries have continued to grow and grow and grow. There's no more fruit on them, but they're growing on just nutso, and we had to cut some of them back. They're all hanging over. It makes it hard to mow the yard and all that, so I've got to get the supports up for next season to keep that under control. So, and that's it for the fruit trees.